Now, this segment is our fastest segment on television. It's our Dr. Gina Rapid Fire Round, and we reserve this segment each evening to zip through as many of the topics as you say are trending, and we invite only your favorite guests. You can feel free to nominate those guests by tweeting at us using the hashtag Dr. Gina. Joining us now, the viral video sensation of the show, Elly Maye. Elly Maye, good to see you.
Good to see you. It's been a while.
I know. Yeah. I'm glad you're still out there. All right, Elly Maye, first up, trending today, NASA has developed an age-reversing pill that they want to start trying on humans in 6 months. Trials on mice found that the pill repaired DNA damage, which is essentially the same as age-reversing. Elly Maye, where can I sign up for that trial?
Yeah, I'm sure nothing could go wrong with this. But the cool thing about this is they're kind of looking into this to see if they can help protect NASA astronauts from solar radiation, and looking into it to see if they can possibly help childhood cancer survivors. So they're kind of trying to figure this technology out. But like you said, the trials on mice, they were successful. The cells in the old mice became the same as the cells in the young mice over just a week of treatment, which to me sounds really creepy and like the beginning of a Twilight Zone episode, but we'll see what happens. And again, like you said, human trials of the pill will start in 6 months. So I'm going to pass on that, to be honest.
We all remember Dolly the sheep, right? All right,
Yeah.
President Donald Trump sat down with Time magazine for a combative back and forth. And this was all over his credibility. Time magazine reporters were criticizing the president, and he shot back saying, I guess I can't be doing so badly because I'm president and you're not. Elly Maye, I read this. I read this morning in the Wall Street Journal. My husband, I'm in bed, and he brings me my coffee, and my Wall Street Journal is like some ungodly hour. And I laughed so hard at that headline. I'm the president. Yeah. You're not. I mean, who says that?
Trump says that. I think it's awesome. And I think it's, part of the reason he got elected. This is why people like him. The media, of course, is always trying to frame everything so negative. And he just goes in there and just continues to give them these headlines. But he at least is running towards it, and he's addressing things straight on. And no matter how negative they try to make him, he is straightforward, and he comes off in a way, to me, he's funny and he's relatable, and that's what people like about him. So the cover of their piece actually says, "Is truth dead?" which is just amazing, because Trump is continuing to expose their bias just by sitting down and have an interview with him. Because, when things like Benghazi happened and all of those lies happened, there was nothing like that on the cover of Time. So it is just amazing that he is able to pull out their bias without practically doing anything. So.
If truth is dead, it's because he's killing it, and I mean that in a good way. As somebody who was a media surrogate for him throughout the campaign, his truth is painful. I mean, he's that truthful. Yeah. Sometimes it's not so much fun to try to defend it, but yeah, truth, honest to a fault, that guy. Here's one I know that you can give me some insight on now, Elly Maye. According to a new study, I read this early this morning too. I think I sent it to the producers about, 5 a.m.? They love this. Some new insight on millennials. According to the study, they don't consider themselves to be adults until 40. Now, to me, that explains pretty much everything going on today.
Yeah, that's probably the craziest thing I've ever heard, even for millennials who say and do crazy things, and I'm saying that as a millennial. I think there's definitely a problem in the millennial generation with a lot of entitlement issues, and I think this definitely stems from that. But as much negative stuff there is to say about millennials, I think there is some positive things. I think the generation is very creative and innovative, but if we have the mindset that we're not grown until we're 40, we're going to stump our own potential. So I think this is absolutely tragic to view our lives this way. I think we should view ourselves adults sooner, but not have that entitlement mentality where we, respect our elders at the same time. But
right, and what happens when we all start popping our new NASA DNA pills and we're going backward? Then we're just all going to be like, I would started to say wearing diapers and sucking bottles, but there are actually adults that do that, so I think I'll just skip that imagery. All right, Chris Pratt poked fun at those on Instagram, Elly Maye, who were saying that he looks too thin. He posted this message on Instagram with a picture of a T-Rex skull. So many people have said that I look too thin in my recent episode of What's My Snack. Some have gone as far as to say I look skeletal. Well, just because I am a male doesn't mean I am impervious to your whispers. Body shaming hurts. So to prove my security in the way I look, I'm posting a current selfie of me at what I consider a very healthy weight, 500 pounds, 0% body fat. Elly Maye, pretty good way to take on the body shamers, I guess, but I don't know, the it hurts part is a little disturbing.
I love him. No, I love him. I think he's being totally funny, and I think, you know, by joking around about this, he's actually making fun of people who are obsessed with this body shaming thing, saying, you know, like he's almost making a joke about feminists in this whole thing, and I think it's great, and he's hilarious, and he's definitely my celebrity crush, but we won't talk about that.
Oh yeah, I know. I was gonna say Passengers. Oh.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. And I think, you know, he's pointing out that even women can be objectifying of men, and, you know, that they do body shame, and a lot of women are hypocritical in that because women think that they're the only victims in this. Not saying he thinks he's a victim, but this is what I see through this post.
How about none of us are victims? We all choose our body weights, for crying out loud.
Yes.
All right, a study from Stockholm University shows that losing your sense of smell can be an indicator. I have worried about this. Is another one I read at 5 o'clock in the morning. Can be an indicator of a higher risk of dying early. This is going to make things a little more scary at my house when colds and stuffy noses are going around. And apparently, if you can't distinguish between mint and lime, that's where you know. Cash it in.
Yeah, okay.
I'm kidding. Audience, I'm kidding. No,
yeah. Yeah, we'll just take the DNA pills. We'll take the DNA pills.
There you go.
We'll go back in time.
Well, I just found it fascinating that the two elements that they talk about, mint and lime, are both in my favorite drink, which is a mojito.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, well, you're going to have trouble then maybe detecting which is which. But yeah, it's every study that comes out is negative, and they always say that we're going to die with some sign of something horrible.
But now we have the new NASA pill, so all is well. Elly Maye, thank you for being with us. We'll be back in a moment. We'll reveal the results of your poll. Stay with us.
See you later.
is America Trends, where we keep our finger on the pulse of America because we only talk about what you're posting on social media. Let's check out your poll results. Do you accept that terror attacks in big cities is the new normal? Actually, I don't think that was our poll question today. Excuse me. Do you agree with President Trump's proposal to cut federal funding to sanctuary cities? Here is your answer. 74% of you do agree with that. 25% of you do not. That's kind of what I might have predicted. Here's some of what you had to say on social media when I asked what it would take for the lamestream media to cover the brutal rape case in Rockville, Maryland, and the one that was committed by an illegal alien, as you know, and as we've talked about throughout the show. Adam said, what would it take for the MSM to cover this? If the perpetrators were white supremacists, it would be covered 24/7. And you make such a great point, Adam. Greg said the left will vilify this poor girl and her family because this destroys their narrative on immigration. So true. Wes said, and not a word from the feminazis. Oh, and there never is, but they'll march in the street about they don't know what exactly, dressed like you don't even want to know what. Remember, you can always hashtag Dr. Gina to let us know what you want to talk about on the show or who you would like to have on. Now, before we go, I want to show you a video that went viral of the Pope that many of you were sharing today on social media. And after we watch it, I want to share with you a personal story about meeting Pope John Paul II at the Vatican. But first, here's that video.
Grazie. Grazie. Mira, mira, mira. Francisco, Papa. Francisco, Papa.
You gotta love it. Isn't that, I mean, if I were a little girl and I met the Pope and he had that little hat on his head, that is exactly what I would do. But I did not do that. I actually had the opportunity to meet Pope John Paul, and it was pretty awesome. I was in Rome and in a little deli, and I was talking to the guy next to me at the deli, and turns out he went to seminary with the priest from my high school, Father Medina. Loved him a lot. One of my best friends there, still a good friend of mine. And so he gave me these tickets and some little medals, you know, the Catholic thingies. They always give you the little medal thingies, saint things. I don't know what they're called. I should know. I went all the way through. I'm not a Catholic. I've never been a Catholic, but I did go all the way through Catholic schools, ironically. You'd think I would know the name of those little medal thingies, but I didn't. Anyway, so he gave me these tickets. He just show these and go that way. And I said, okay. So I kept showing these, and I'm walking through just hordes and hordes of people. It was some big saint's day or feast day or something like that. Anyway, and I'm walking, and there's just thousands and thousands of people, and I keep going to the next set of doors, showing the tickets. They keep ushering us right through, showing the tickets, ushering us right through. All of a sudden, I look up, and I'll be darned if that is not the Pope right there in front of me. And my immediate reaction was guilt, because if you've gone to Catholic schools your whole life, you know that almost no one you know has actually ever been face-to-face with the Pope, and that you, as a non-Catholic, should not be in their place when you're to get such a privilege. And so I felt, my first thought was all the people that I should have traded tickets with. Of course, I'm in Rome. I don't know anyone, but I just felt guilty and had a great time. It was interesting because like people are dropping in the aisles, fainting, and it was just really a true cultural experience. To have that Pope back these days. But I do believe that if I had been that little girl, I would have, and I have two little boys that I think would do the same thing, who in fact are on spring break right now. And we thought about going to Europe, decided not to because of the terrorist threats, and we decided to spend our money in countries that aren't letting terrorists in and aren't advocating for them to be let into our country. And so we did not end up going to Europe this time around, but I'm pretty sure that my two little boys on spring break right now, if they were to meet the Pope, they would have definitely grabbed, what do you call that thing? It's not a yarmulke, that's the Jewish thing. The little thing. Anyway, speaking of my two little boys, before we go, this is Bo, it's straight from baseball, looking a little scrubby, but this is Bo and Sam, and wanted them to get to join me here at the end of the show. And any wisdom out there? Oh, we're out of time. We gotta go. No time. Thanks for being with us. Tune in tomorrow. Until then, you keep training America.